Hello, everyone. Hope you all are having a beautiful evening. If you spent any time working inside a digital audio workstation, or jamming with your friends in a band or garage, or collaborating on a song, you know that almost every single track starts with a spark or inspiration from something else. Say you want to have that punchy synth, groovy melody that's a little bit darker, kind of like the Smiths, or maybe you wanted to add something a little bit more poppy in this drumming, something that sounds a bit funky like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You want to build you take inspiration from other people that you've listened to because you know that's what makes it good. So in the music world, inspiration is our universal currency. But because we operate in a commercial industry, a critical question arises. Where exactly is the legal line between drawing inspiration from a sonic era and unlawfully stealing another artist's property? The question hit home for me after researching the case with Dire Straits' legendary 1985 track "Money for Nothing." Most of us recognize that iconic track, but what you wouldn't most people wouldn't realize or remember is that in the music video, Sting came into the studio and recorded "I Want My MTV" in a certain fashion that rang true to the Police's song "Don't Stand So Close to Me." So, it was meant as a playful nod between friends, but the moment Sting's record label, A&M Records, heard the final master, they stepped in and threatened a lawsuit against Dire Straits. Because even a four-word melodic quotation constitutes a legally protected musical expression. So, the case was straightforward, but it involved obvious melodic quote. But today's copyright battles in the music industry are happening in a much murkier gray area. So today I wanted to take the opportunity to clear the air a little bit more about it so everybody can be a little bit more in the know and not be so paranoid and, oh, I can't do that because I feel like I'm just stealing more from other people. But after diving in a little bit of this, things will seem a little bit more clear. So our first section is going to be idea versus expression dichotomy. Before we dive into the courtrooms and forensic musicologists, we have to clear up a massive misconception. A lot of creators think that if two songs share the same melodic structure, same tempo, or same beat, that they're automatically going to get sued. But under Section 102B of the United States Copyright Law of 1976, copyright protects original expressions of an idea, but it explicitly never protects the idea itself. In legal circle, this is known as idea expression dichotomy. In a foundational paper, in a foundational paper published by the Duke Center of the Study of Public Domain, legal scholar Jennifer Jenkins points out the basic musical building blocks, like a standard 1 to 4 to 5 chord progression or 120 BPM, is still entirely public domain. They are unprotectable ideas. No single artist, no matter how famous, can own a genre or a fundamental chord progression. Furthermore, as modern producers, we must remember that every commercial track carries down two distinct legal copyright ideas. Unprotectable ideas, Section 102B, fundamental building blocks remain in the public domain for all creators, like the standard chord progressions, the tempos, or the general tropes and just vibe of the songs. And then the protectable expressions. So, copyright attaches only when basic ideas are combined into a unique work, like distinct melodic sequences and vocal hooks, specific lyric combinations and cadence, and unique harmonic arrangements coupled with melody. So, and this is just a little bit more of a table that outlines everything that is set up for everyone when it comes to the songwriting part and then the actual mastering and what everything lines up down to. So, going on to section 2, exploitation and precedent, re-recording protected melodies, and the landmark for Money for Nothing precedent. So, just another quick recap. In Money for Nothing, Sting sang the four words, "I want my MTV," in the same exact almost the same sequence as "Don't Stand So Close to Me." So, re-recording or re-singing a pre-existing melody without sampling original audio is interpolation. Quoting a protected melody demands explicit publishing clearance. So, from the result, A&M wanted about 12% from the cut, or else they were going to just completely cut Sting's vocal track from the album master. So, and then that goes into our next session, substantial similarity, deconstructing how federal courts and musicologists evaluate copyright infringement. So in the two-part legal test, extrinsic test, objective, the technical dissection by forensic musicologists, they analyze pitch sequences, rhythmic cadence, harmonic structure, and phrase length, and applies legal filtration to remove unprotectable public domain elements. And then the intrinsic, which is the subjective, auditory evaluation by lay jurors. As during this phase, courts perform a critical process called filtration. The court strips away all unprotectable elements. This includes public domain scales and legal doctrine known as scenes à faire, a French phrase meaning that scenes that must be done. In music, scenes à faire refers to standard musical tropes essential to a specific genre. For instance, a minor key bass drop in a dubstep or a walking bass line in 12-bar blues are scenes à faire. They are filtered out. So, and that just goes on a little bit more of it. And the landmark legal precedents. And this is just recapping some previous cases. Williams v. Gay, 2015, jury awarded $5 million plus, finding blurred lines copied the overall vibe and groove of Marvin Gaye's record, triggering industry debate. And then there was another case, Skidmore versus Led Zeppelin. Ninth Circuit affirmed that the common chromatic lines and standard progressions from Stairway to Heaven belong to the public domain. So, finishing it up, actionable creator blueprint, distinguish vibe from melody, capturing a genre, vibe, or drum texture is technically legal inspiration. Quoting a distinct melody requires an interpolation license. Document your creative process. Save early voice memos, DAW project version histories, and stems to establish independent creation legal disputes. And then, of course, leverage scenes à faire. Don't fear standard genre conventions, basic rhythms, or chord changes. They belong to everybody in the public domain. So hopefully this clears the air a little bit more about the whole process. And don't be afraid that if you really like the Smiths and you want to sound or pay homage to the Smiths, you can still kind of sound like the Smiths. But as long as you go by these certain ideas and these certain laws in copyright, then you will be able to make whatever you want. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and thank you for joining my little lecture. Goodbye.